IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Hello, welcome guys. It's a new episode of the TFG Indian Football Podcast. And well, a weekend full of footballing action. And what must I say? We saw a total of 24 goals, including all the matches of I-League and ISL. And if you just have to talk about I-League, there were 14 goals scored among 3 matches. I mean, it was insane, raining goals in most of the matches, and it was a crazy, full-packed game. Package games for the fans who came out there in numbers to watch their teams. Well, some were disappointed because the other side, there were teams that were losing 5-2, 5-1 and 5-0. But it was a crazy weekend. I have both Chiranjeev and Kevin joining us. And once again, we are not in the studio for various reasons. We are in our respective homes. And I think, Chiranjeev, you are still stuck in ISL?
No, I'm in Silchar. So my flight got cancelled out of ISL because of bad weather. And I spent the entire day yesterday hitchhiking from one car to another. And I came 180 kilometers to catch a flight from Silchar. So I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, I think right there.
Yeah, my trousers are torn, my shoes are muddy, my backpacks are like caked with mud. And I have not seen, like you have not seen roads till you have seen the roads of Mizoram.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. I saw some political parties protesting about roads a couple of months ago over there. Now I know what they're talking about.
Yeah,
oh God.
Yeah. Well, I think the similar reactions were from certain teams, like I mentioned earlier in I-League and ISL, because they got hammered, they got thrashed. Let's start with this particular 2 teams that were in action. We're starting with ISL. Goa was playing Kerala Blasters. Kerala Blasters had a fairly decent start, but not an expected start. Like, they didn't have goals. 2 matches they remained goalless draws, and then finally they got a goal, but that too ended in a 1-1 against Mumbai City. And here they were playing FC Goa, who were on top of their game. And there you go. A 5-2 thrashing is what Kerala Blasters got. But in the first half, they played well enough. They held on to it. 2-2 was the first half score. But you can't stop Koro, right? If he gets going, it's just insane. Another hat-trick for him, a consecutive hat-trick. Kevin, I'm going to get you here. What is wrong with Kerala Blasters? Their defense line we speak of, we've got the best there. But they've been just leaking goals. And once again, the keeper whom we always spoke about, how great saves he's done, how well he's playing. But here he just got hammered.
It's just one bad game for Paul Rachukba. That shouldn't be. You shouldn't take away all the good work that he's done under the bar for the previous 2 or 3 games. If you just remember, it was for him. Even though having a bad defense like Kerala Blasters, they still managed to get goalless draws. It was just because of his efforts. And continuing against FC Goa, nobody expected them to go all guns blazing, because FC Goa is an attacking side in a way that even through the toughest of defenses, they can just make their way through. And I think the start that Kerala Blasters got, it couldn't have been better. 6 minutes in, you already score a goal, thanks to all the great Katimani. He's there to just gift. The Christmas season always comes early when Katimani is there. So I think it's not the fault of the defense. I think FC Goa was just too strong. 2 goals did come in for Kerala Blasters. It's a good sign. Bobby Doppel was off early in the game. So it makes a difference when you've got somebody your expectations pinned on. He's not in the field. It makes it's a shock. It's something that the team has to recover from. It's not just change of tactics. So I think the scorer side, Kerala Blasters defense really has to buck up, not just from FC Goa's from that game against FC Goa. It's throughout. What happens if the goalkeeper does not give you the best show? So if you can see 5 goals. What if he had that? It would have been 3-2 or maybe even 4-2. It doesn't make a difference. So the defense really has to buck up, and this is not good signs considering the number of goals they've let in a couple of games.
Yeah, Chiranjeev, now, when they started off with clean sheets, here it looks like they've made up for all this clean sheet that they've done. They've just conceded just too many goals in this one game itself. What do you think has gone wrong for Kerala Blasters, and what is that one thing that will get them back to winning ways?
Well, I think one obvious point to start is the central defense, because remember the third goal and the fourth goal, almost identical and happened within 5 minutes of each other. Just went down the middle, Koro was released, and both times he took the 2 central defenders for a ride. So I don't know what is going on. I never thought I would say this, but I'm suddenly missing the Kerala Blasters that was playing with 5 defenders. It's like you almost think that maybe if you had one extra guy out there, they would have simply clamped down that early flurry from FC Goa that led to back-to-back 3 goals and took the game away from them, because otherwise they were doing pretty well, conceding a couple of goals on either side because of goalkeeping mistakes and all of that. And by the way, what were the goalkeepers doing that day? All of that it happens in a day of work or a bad day of work, but the way they just collapsed in those 10 minutes really should send all the alarm bells ringing. There are some positives that we have here, because the wings are suddenly firing so well for Kerala Blasters, and part of the credit goes to Dimitar Berbatov's early injury, because that brought Milan Singh onto the pitch, and suddenly Milan Singh was on the right, Jackie Chand was on the left, and you had 2 Manipuri wingers just crushing it out there. I think Jackie Chand scored the second goal, assisted the first one. The assist came from Milan Singh for the second one. So yes, that's a way to go. Maybe give these guys starts, and I'm not even sure they are going to miss Berbatov anytime soon if the strike force acts like this. But other than that, I think midfield was easily being dominated by FC Goa, which is something you expect because they have a better midfield, and you have the central defense just going to sleep for that particular time. I'm pretty sure Sandesh and others will sit down and have a talk with the coach. At some point, you have to be a little bit diplomatic and not be like all enthusiastic partisan or whatever.
Yeah. Now, just 2 things adding on to this before we move on to other games is like one. Just like you mentioned, their midfield needs to buck up, and that is, I think, a weak link for Kerala Blasters. I think they need to work on that, and right now it looks like they need to work on as a team as a whole. I mean, go back to the drawing boards and then say what has gone wrong. We need to play, because we can't depend on one player, and we need to buck up and get back going. The other fact is, we've always seen Kerala Blasters get this hammering, but then after that they get into shape and finally regroup themselves. Like last time we saw them being thrashed by Mumbai City, and which also involved a hat-trick by Diego Forlan then. And this time it's against FC Goa and another hat-trick. And last season they went on to be the runners-up, so you never know. Probably this kind of works for Kerala Blasters, that they get hammered once in every season, But I think, jokes apart, they need to buck up now. Just like we've been saying, they need to find the right combination.
By the way, just notice something. I think Sony came on after the hour mark for Mete. He provided a lot of stability, and even Prasant Karuthadatkuni, I think last 15 minutes he played. I think he had a lot more to do than Arata Izumi did for the most of the game. And remember, Arata Izumi was actually involved in one of the goals. I think the fourth goal, it was him and Sandesh Jingan who got taken for a ride by Koro.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is maybe those are the things that.
I think it's because also young legs. I mean, Karan Soni and Prashant are young and fresh legs, and they'll give you that pace that they needed. But let's see how it all goes back. Rene and his Thangbar Singh to need to find the right combination going. Now, moving on to these two I-League teams, from Kolkata, who were on a goal-scoring spree against their opponents. One defeated their opponent as 5-1, and the other was a clean sheet and scored 5 goals. Now, East Bengal took on Shillong on Saturday.
Kevin!
Yeah, okay.
Kya ho gaya?
Talk about this.
5-1. I mean, it was a one-sided affair, but you couldn't do much, right? Those are young guys who are growing up. It's always a learning period for them. They're playing against some of the big names in Indian football at the moment, including the foreign names. And it's a Khalid's team. Though East Bengal were under pressure, they did come up and put up their best show, but I think this would be a learning curve for Shillong boys, right?
No, nothing to worry. I think the pressure actually made them play the best, and they had to. If they wouldn't, there was the things that was getting difficult for Khalid Jabil and his staff at East Bengal. The Kolkata games really work on pressure basis. So they stepped up. I think they delivered what was expected from them, even though it was Shillong Lajong. But I am very happy with the way Shillong Lajong took it, even being down by a goal or 2 or 3. I said that it doesn't matter. The scoreline doesn't reflect their mentality, their attitude towards getting experience from any game that they play. And it did show. When they had possession of the ball, they didn't want to sit back. They are not one of the teams that will contain the damage. They will try and go and score one goal, even though it's final up. And they just did that. I think that's what is the best about this team. You don't teach them the attitude of just letting it go. They want to say never. They will never say die. They will try to get back at the opponents. And this gives them confidence. One goal against East Bengal is as good as anything. There are tougher games to come. Obviously, this was the best that East Bengal had to bring out. And I'm thinking right now, why not play tougher games earlier in the season than later? Because you already have passed the tough phase of the league stage.
Right. So you must be jumping on glory, right? I mean, I think, Mohun Bagan are right now, if I'm not wrong, on the top of the points table with that overwhelming win against Churchill Brothers, right?
Yeah, well, this is what happens. East Bengal set the bar 5-1. Mohun Bagan is like, theek hai, main bhi dikhata hu, 5-0. I think the win for East Bengal is a bit more significant because it came against a team that was very much on form, and they did put up more of a fight than Churchill Brothers managed to put up against Mohun Bagan. Although nothing to take away from the Mohun Bagan's performance. Kroma got a goal. And Kroma got an assist. He's actually passing the ball inside the box. So somebody has had a conversation with him. Dipanda got a couple of goals. Fires, I think the standout guy. The way he has been growing over the last few matches. He got 2 assists and 1 goal. I'm a hero of the match for me. Soni Norde kept his presence all the time, but this is the first time we are seeing that Mohun Bagan is not 100% reliant on Soni Norde. Others are making their ways and taking on a fairly physical team. And how many injuries did Mohun Bagan incur from that game? Quite a few. Fires has been injured. I think he's recovering. Soni Norde had to be taken off. Thankfully, it was his right knee, not his left knee, that he did in, and it seems like he will be fit for the next match. against Shillong Lajong. And then you had Yuta Kinowaki, who has dislocated his collarbone. And
really bad.
Yeah, massive. And he is being, I don't think he's going to need surgery, but we're hearing he's out for 3 weeks. So all of that has happened. It was a very costly game physically for Mohun Bagan, but it was good to see the team turning up that way. East Bengal, though, I thought the win was a bit more comfortable. It was a lot of team effort. And I'm just impressed by Laldan Mavia Ralte. He's just turned up. I thought he should have gotten that. Katsumisa should have just told him like, "TK, you take the penalty," and get your hat trick. That would have been so good for the youngster.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. The way they played, the flow was good. Shillong Lajong also should not be like completely taken in by this result, because even they did put up a fight early on or towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now, before we head on to the short break, we have to talk about this game that was played at 2 p.m. in Kozhikode's heat. But it looked like the home team was under pressure and they got the heat because the visiting team, Neroka, who are usually from a colder region, they put up a good fight and they put up a good performance. A 3-0 win for Neroka against Gokulam FC at Gokulam FC's home ground. Surenji, let's start with you. Crazy atmosphere. We did see a few crowd coming in, but not a good result for Gokulam here. What went wrong?
Yeah, well, we had a few people coming in, but you had them hiding in the shade because it was completely. We kept hearing that the temperature is too high. They had drinks breaks. I think how many drinks breaks they had? Like 20-25 minutes. Yeah. So it was not a atmosphere or climate meant for football, at 2 p.m. in Kozhikode. It just seems like you had players in the Neroka side some of whom have played in warm regions in the past. Chidi is a good example, and even Pritham has been around the country. So I think that sort of worked out for them, while mostly the players of Gokulam Kerala FC who have not played in the top division and were facing a team that's much faster than them. So in that warmth, when they were pushed to the stretch of their fitness abilities, they just seemed to gas out. That's how it happened. It just did not seem like Gokulam FC could manage to turn up 100%. So they should make a complaint about this 2 p.m. kickoff. This is not helping them at all. They did get some chances though, and the way Lakra I think overlapped and put one outside. Khalid had chances. Mbele did not do that well, but I think Irshad was making some really good runs. So all of those things were happening, but it was just a factor that Gokulam Kerala failed to take their chances in that match.
Kevin, do you think a little bit of over-dependency on the foreign player, like they missed Kamo's presence out there to get those finishing touches? Do you think that was one of the reasons?
Yes, it does make a difference when you're foreigners who've been playing so well. At least showed promise in the first 2 games, and not so well in when you want them to, especially in the home game. I think for starters, the midfield of Neroka was very well organized, especially Aaron Williams, the Australian. I think he's doing very fine in his new role. He's more of a defensive guy, but then he's made to be playing in the midfield, and I think it's working very well for the team. He used to be seen on the ball most of the times. And that's what is needed when you've got one guy who's able to control the game and the others have got freedom and space to move around. It just shows that you do not have to be depending on one person in your team, and that's what's the beauty about Minerva, because the way they've come up through the second division, I think the progress is carried forward to the I-League. And getting an away victory, obviously, at such a difficult time to play, is a great achievement in itself. Gokulam Kerala could have been slightly better. Mohammad Salah obviously did not play out how they would expect him to be. He was great in the other games. He's got a strong left foot, and we did not see that in this game. So it depends, how your foreigners also turn up when it's the most crucial time. I think it's the weather that got to them. That could be one reason.
Yeah. Now, a lot of things happening. These are the matches that saw too many goals in ISL and I-League respectively. Now, slipping into a short break on the other side, we'll just mention a few 1-0 victories for certain teams. We'll just mention about them, and then we have the preview for tonight's I-League fixture, all of that on the other side.
We're from the Daily POW, a Bombay-specific food and culture website, and we have a weekly podcast called The Podcast.
That's POW with an O, not with a V.
Why is it with an O and not with a V when most people spell POW with a V?
Because it's POW, not powerful.
And some people also spell it with a U.
Like POW, like feet.
Yeah.
Like Paulagu.
Yeah, like Paulagu. So weird. To listen to more of us and what we have to say about the city and its culture and its food, listen to the podcast every week on IVM Podcasts.
Welcome back, guys, and just like I mentioned, the first half of our show also was pretty explosive, I think. I'm hoping it would be, because there were some great matches that we saw during the weekend, but there were some matches that saw good fight, and it ended up, finally there was no goalless draw or a draw here in an ISL weekend, because there were winners. Everyone who came here, one of the teams made sure that they took 3 points home. Now, Bengaluru FC were away at Northeast United. Ralte, their keeper, did a great job to keep the clean sheet there and not put Bengaluru FC under further pressure without playing,
Ralte is the, what he is. If Subrata Paul is the Spider-Man of India, Ralte is the Batman of Bengaluru FC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's the keeper they deserve, but don't need when Gurpreet Singh comes back.
Yeah. So it was a 1-0 victory, and thanks to, we almost saw that TB Renish, he had to clear the ball, but he passed, and they were right there. There was a Bengaluru FC player who passed it to Miku, and Miku scored. That was, it was a bit unlucky. Northeast United there, they tried their best to get back or get the equalizer, but they failed to. So Bengaluru FC,
I think Northeast should have been the first one to score.
Absolutely.
And that should have been the difference in the game. And that they have to thank the Stars that they did not. I think then it would have been a much even more intense game than what we saw. Jeffrey was there, but I think Bengaluru were not in the best form. Yes, a couple of instances where they did show their glimpses of their strength, but I think Northeast could have been at least taking a point from this had they scored earlier.
Mm-hmm. Now, two other games that happened where Pune City took on Jamshedpur. Now, Jamshedpur were at home, their second home match. Once again, the pitch looked a little bad, but finally, the players looked like they were cautious. They started with a slow and steady start, which was a good move, I guess, and a good game to watch, a tight game, and then comes through a set piece, a free kick from Marcelino that was put in. The goal was put in by Adil Khan, and 1-0 victory to Pune City there. And then finally the weekend ended with Mumbai City playing at home against Chennai FC, who saw a bit changes in their starting 11 as JJ was on the bench. But I think this was something what Kevin mentioned, that Chennai would go a little bit probably on off and be a little loose here because they've got back-to-back wins. That's exactly, I think, what they did, and it kind of cost them because a penalty that was given to Mumbai City, which didn't look like a legit one. Another controversial decision there, but well, the game at the end of the day is in the hands of the referee, right? So the 1-0 victory for Mumbai City. They're at home. I think they're maintaining, and it's a good luck thing that they're playing at home and they get points there. They just get lucky every time. Even the first game that they played against FC Goa. But moving on, as I said, finally we saw an ISL weekend where we saw goals. There was no goalless draws, so that was a good thing. I think slowly we are catching up there. Probably they're slowly keeping pace. Everybody's having an eye on I-League matches, to get some inspiration how to play good games. Jokes aside, let's talk about tonight's fixture. We have Minerva FC taking on Chennai City. I think these two kind of, whenever they play, they kind of bring an excitement, right? Because
what excitement? Do you remember the first game of last season?
Yeah, of course I do. But I'm just saying, these two we're kind of familiar now. Seeing these two people, their owners are pretty active on social media. But Kevin, I start with you. Chennai City, can they be that team that we saw them against Gokulam, where they had a 1-1 draw, or would Minerva take these points easily?
I don't know how Chennai City can match up to Minerva this season. They are looking very weak. Chennai City really. They haven't got their act together, and against the side that is too quick, that is using all sides of the pitch, how are they going to stop them? It looks like a task that is burdened on them, and they've got too many conditions to look at to get at least a point from this. It's not going to be easy for City unless their players who were there from last season, like Ed Wenspal and Susai Raj, who can step up and at least get some inspiration for the team. And the foreigners have to do a better job. I think they've been, they're way too low in performances, and I think even the goalkeeping has to work, has to be doing a lot of more work. So if we just consider if there's one aspect or one side of Chennai City that you can point can be the strength, we haven't gotten to see that side of Chennai City as yet. So let's see that if they are able to at least manage to keep the ball with them for a longer period of time, rather than losing and then just chasing the ball for most of the time. I think this will be a good start. At least if they keep a clean sheet tonight, I think it's a victory already, because this team is weak. I would say weak because even the coach has agreed that not many players have familiarity with the top division experience. That's there, when you've got a side that's not been exposed too much to high-level football, you will expect growth to be coming very slowly. So a clean sheet tonight will be a great step.
Ranjit, do you see a clean sheet, or do you see Minerva just taking and walking away with 3 points?
I actually see Minerva doing a good job here, because you have seen them take on Indian Arrows the way they did, and sort of outplayed them, outthought them, I think, on that day. They also played Neroka, and Neroka were a much faster team than them, but they still managed to outcalculate them. They played Mohun Bagan, and it was pretty good the way they somehow managed to put the pressure back on Mohun Bagan after going 1 goal down and got a draw out of that. So Minerva Punjab looked like a much more tried and tested team this season, whereas Chennai City have only gotten a draw against Gokulam, Kerala, who are not doing that well at the moment. So it's I don't think Chennai City stand much of a chance here. I'm seeing Minerva Punjab as a clear favorite, and these are by the way. At this point, I expected better from Chennai City a little bit. Although they got screwed by the home ground situation, I thought the team would be much better prepared, and I thought they could have had a little bit more advantage, because all the big clubs in the league lost some of their major Indian players to ISL teams. So it's a bit of a surprising thing. Maybe it's an early hiccup of a new side that will get better as the league progresses. But at this point, it seems Minerva did all their homework, in the middle of the season, at the end of the season during the summer,
right.
And they have turned up a much improved side, and Chennai City have managed not to do that. So yeah.
Well, hopefully we see a great match tonight between these two, and we hope that Chennai City give in a good fight, and rather not, we don't see a one-sided affair from Minerva that we've been seeing. Now, good times ahead once again for football, great action all on the way. Now, that's all from today's show from our end. If you did like and enjoy, then please show us that through via liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, let us know your thoughts about all these games that we saw during the weekend and of tonight's expectations in the comment section below. We can also do hit the bell icon that you see there so you get updates of our new episode and don't miss out on any episode of ours. Follow the TFG Football Twitter handle to get all the updates of the games and whatever happens in Indian football. You can also talk to us directly on Twitter. Chiranjeet is on Twitter, Chiranjeet Toja, Boza_Kevin, Sujan Matthew 94. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy the game tonight. Hopefully it'll be a good one. And come back to us tomorrow. Cheers.
That was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started atkt.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through atkt.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. atkt.in.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी।
बोलिए मैडम।
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वैक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, टिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर जकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है। आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम। आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप, सब आपकी उंगलियों पे।